Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. So, in case you haven't noticed, we have a Patreon. And again, on Patreon, we put one up this morning. It feels good to talk a little bit more freer, and we've been posting more and more on Patreon as more and more people are joining us on Patreon. Also, because when it comes to EEARTS, they're just simply censoring it and seeing comments like, "Do you still have EEARTS?" Because I search for it and I can't find it. Well, again, that's what the AI algorithms do. They try to hide things that they don't want out in the open. So we invite everybody to come and watch us over there as well. And we want to thank, again, all those that are supporting us over there. So you have the FBI director. Well, let's just let him speak.
So what I would say that is unique about the environment that we're in right now in my career is that while there may have been times over the years where individual threats could have been higher here or there than where they might be right now, I've never seen a time where all the threats, or so many of the threats, are all elevated all at exactly the same time. That's what makes this environment that we're in now so fraught, and why funding our men and women who are working shoulder to shoulder with state and local law enforcement and other partners every day makes it even more important, not less.
So, blinking red lights analogy about 9/11, all the lights were blinking red before 9/11. Apparently, obviously, all of us missed it. Would you say that there's multiple blinking red lights out there?
I see blinking lights everywhere I turn.
So you could read into that what you will.
Indeed.
Yeah, and I like that comment about 9/11. Obviously, all of us missed it. Not all of us, all of them missed it. Or, again, sometimes people are paid to take a look the other way.
And I also I feel so silly. Wasn't there an anniversary of something really big coming up? Of a type of a...
Oh, well, I was just saying December 6th is Pearl Harbor. Yeah, that's tomorrow. December 6th, 1941. Yeah, Pearl Harbor, well, of course. And then that ties into what the Project for a New American Century said before 9/11 ever happened. It was a think tank that involved what was to become all the neocons in the Bush regime, saying we need another Pearl Harbor event to galvanize the public. Meanwhile, you got Senator Ted Cruz grilling the same person, FBI Director Chris Wray, for concealing 46's dealings with top officials from the CCP and, direct ties to President Xi Jinping, who he fondly speaks of all the time. When we were off hiking in the Himalayas, like, boy, he just loves this guy. He makes a point of making it out that they're buddies. Again, we are watching Guiding Light, Days of Our Lives. What was some of the other ones?
I think, let's see, General Hospital.
As the World Turns.
Yes, all of those. We're watching them.
If you still believe that all this is not scripted, you're still trusting that the WWE is legit. It's all just drama for the masses. Meanwhile, defying presidents and Congress, the ATF, DEA, FBI, and U.S. Marshals shroud their shootings in secrecy. Despite nearly 30 years of demands for transparency, the DOJ's law enforcement agencies release little data about who they shoot, why, and when. And they rarely use body cameras. Well, all this ties in together pretty neatly, because it makes me think of one William Cooper, who wrote a book about a pale horse, who actually spoke about 9/11 a month before it happened, who actually only lived a couple more months. Why? Because the same agencies came knocking at his front door. And I didn't put all this together intentionally, but see how it flows?
Yeah, definitely.
It's just all right there for those that are reading patterns. Meanwhile, senior EU official warns of huge security risk in Europe over Christmas. as Israel and the Hamas war rages. And, it's absolutely painful to look at what's going on there. It's just beyond painful. Flush them out. Israel planning to flood Hamas's tunnel network to drive out or drown terrorists under Gaza as they deploy 5 huge pumps capable of flooding the underground maze within weeks. They have swept through areas. This is a second great exodus of the Palestinian people from this area. And it happened before, the formation of Israel being resurrected again by the UN. It was a UN mandate that mandated that. And actually, it was a UN mandate going back farther. Or actually, that was a UN mandate. And then the recreation of Palestine again. When you look to it, there's always the same groups of families. And, now we might pride ourselves on having elections, but why are there any royal families in this day and age? Why really do we still have kings and queens? Why do they seem to hobnob with all these people that keep popping up in circles, all the same circles, like Gilligan's Island? Well, not Gilligan's Island, the island that begins with an E, P, S, T. You figure out the Rex. They're all part of the same group. They're all intertwined with the same social clubs, let's say. Social clubs that have all these strange rituals they seem to get into, and all strange, let's not mention the food choices. I mean, we could really, really be grossed out going down that road. And everything that you've heard, all these little rumors, one by one, all these, CONS piracy theories are leaving the ranks of CONS piracy theories, and they're becoming just abject facts.
Mm-hmm. And, there's one thing that they do when they have these rituals that are out of sight, but then they pretend like they're showing everyone what they're doing, and that they actually are trying to do something that's going to matter, on in the mainstream media. When they go into court and they question, this seriously is just like General Hospital, where you can watch what they say, but there's absolutely nothing behind it besides them reading cue cards. That's it.
Absolutely. They're all actors. They're all playing out roles to let humans think that humans really actually control anything significant. After all, this is Satan's kingdom, and Satan's not necessarily human, but more human than human at the same time, to quote a term from a heavy metalish band. Which, let's see if anybody can guess that. More human than human. Who did that song? That's saying a lot too. More human than human. Like, where does that dark side of humanity come from? Where do those genes come from? And, it's the answer is it's the same beings that turned off 97% of the DNA, according to some sources, fused that second chromosome, and are always making sure that we have plenty of chemical skies and toxic water and, toxic food to eat. This is all part of a big program that has been ongoing for much longer than even the length of the creation of the U.S. And if we look to the words of Prince in the interview that he gave, was it really 1776? Because that's something I haven't looked into to verify, but Prince gave an interview shortly before he left this 3D matrix, and he said he discovered that there was 8 presidents before Washington. That's a good one to go down the rabbit hole and take a look at, because, again, a large portion of the presidents were slave owners, and a large portion of them were involved in secret societies. In fact, again, did power really ever shift anywhere or is it just the outward appearance of power that shifts? And we're in the middle of one of those shifts right now. There's big shifts that happen. And when we look to pyramids, we find them all over the world, everywhere, all over the world. And you don't, as this one's saying, you might not think that pyramids in Europe have anything to do with each other, but they do. And how about that pyramid power? Oh, that's just new woo. That's new age woo woo. But no, there is something to this structure. And the original pyramids were not put in by a nefarious group. They weren't put in by the controllers. They were put in by beings that were trying to help anchor our reality, as this world was recreated from a world that was obliterated by the dark side, so to speak, and is a recreation after the original creation. And of course, we're talking about Tiamat and the destruction of Tiamat, which is right there in the Sumerian stories. But even the Sumerian stories are written from the position of those that won the war, so to speak. The victors write the history. So we have to recognize that even though we get some truth in there, because they talk about the Anunnaki gods amongst us quite clearly, they were in their temples. And the reason why the whole sacrificial system was put into effect in one way originally was just basically to give them the first serving, because they wanted the first serving of everything. It's kind of like the IRS, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Very much.
But this is interesting. So after a number of longitudinal studies by Alexander Golod, his research found that pyramid presence has some serious effects, including increasing the immune system, increasing agricultural yield by 100%, and decreasing the effects of pathogens and radioactive material. Very interesting, is it not? And in a much larger manner, that's exactly what the pyramids were all about. They were all about healing.
Very much about healing, and also anchoring and stabilizing. So.
Because again, the planet was destroyed, so they were brought in to stabilize and to heal the patient. Yes. Gaia, that came from Tiamat.
Yes, and this is what I call the superconscience that kicked in, and a lot of different beings got messages to come and help pull this earth back together.
So in reality, who put the earth back together, from the ashes, the destruction of Tiamat?
The Golden Age, those from the Golden Age. So we're looking at beings like Isis and all of them. They came here. They were part of the superconscious.
So beings from Sirius, the Pleiades, beings from many different places, beings really that we would recognize by the term the Galactic Federation.
We would. And, there was a little, somebody very sweet sent me a little video, and it was so cute. And I sent it out to a few people because it really sums up everything that we're talking about today. And it was very uplifting. And it just goes into the idea about the volunteers and how we did come here with a purpose. And now we're at that part where our frequencies are coming together, and we're latching on to one another to help bring things into a better place.
Absolutely. So yes, 16 pyramids in Greece as well. And then we have this shocking study, which is not shocking at all to us, discovers bottlenose dolphins possess an electric sixth sense. They can perceive weak electric fields. Well, newsflash, so can many humans. Absolutely. Whether you want to, deny it or not. I mean, again, the control system doesn't want to let you know that things like precognition, ESP, the ability to what we would call remote view is very real. And in fact, that's the norm. The only reason why we don't have all these abilities abundant in the public is because of the system itself. If the system wasn't here, we would all be communicating in a much different way, and we would truly, truly be much more harmonious and at peace.
Well, it's so much like a muscle, and they make darn sure that we don't exercise that muscle by putting into place things, like the internet, so we can use Messenger and talk to one another like that. But yeah, I mean, we're in a place where we could be very, very telepathic and using those muscles, but we don't have to, so we don't.
There's a reason why the system wants to create a certain amount of laziness in us, because it wants us to be totally dependent on it for everything. Ask the system for answers. Got a question? Let's go Google it. How about let's try to intune it? What comes to you? What do you sense? What do you feel?
And it's the old relationship, the very bad relationship where you cut the cow from the herd, and then once that cow is cut from the herd, they can do anything that they want to you. And this is what's happened to us. It's like we've been cut off from everything that we think or that we know to be true. I mean, they tell us that it's just us. I mean, we're the only beings here, making us feel like, oh my gosh, so we have to depend on Big Brother. Oh, please, we need a savior. Help me. I mean, that's what they make us think.
Yes, absolutely. It's always about not allowing us to realize human potential. That's really, truly the bottom line, because it is far more than the controllers themselves. They are the ones that are stuck. They are going nowhere. And their minions that have decided to go down that path, it's a fast path to absolutely nowhere. They're not going to get anywhere. They're going to get totally stuck. And, again, for you guys, I know that's not the path you want to go down.
Definitely not.
As always, so much love and appreciation for every one of you. Look forward to your comments. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.